How is it going, everybody? My name is DeMarco, and if you missed it, if you're watching this video, you probably didn't. There was a brand new Into the Starfield episode released officially by Bethesda just a few days ago, and it was amazing. So many exciting new bits of information, including character details, companion details, backgrounds, how dialogue works in the game, and so much more. It was arguably one of the best pieces of information we've gotten about Starfield since that in-game trailer we received a while back at this point. Very well done, Bethesda. But if you're anything like me, you've watched that video a couple times, you've browsed through Reddit, saw what the community was saying, you've analyzed it on your own, and now you have nothing left to watch, nothing left to pour through, and you've gotten a little bit of itch under your skin, and you're wondering when will we get our next fix of Bethesda, of Starfield information? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. First things first is confirmed details. What do we officially know is coming from Bethesda this year? And the obvious one is the E3 presentation, where Starfield will be featured in that full, beautiful 20 to 30 minute gameplay demo that all of us are hoping and expecting from Bethesda this year. The game releases in November of 2022, assuming there's no delays, and this is the last chance that Bethesda will have, and we know from years past, this is the big reveal moment. This is what Bethesda waits. This is why they don't talk about their games too much leading up to the release, because they want to show us everything that the game has to offer, not just tell us about it. And E3 is going to be that moment. There were some rumors that I want to address, primarily the fact that people were saying, well, it's possible Microsoft might go off and do a showcase early, before E3, in May instead of June. Now, I wanted to address this because there was no real substantial evidence behind it. There was sort of a he said, she said situation going on. One insider said one thing, another insider refuted that point, and when it comes down to it, I don't believe whatever was being said. I think that Microsoft will stick to June. They know, they want Starfield is their biggest release for the end of the year, period. End of discussion. It's a massive game, and we have comments coming from the likes of Phil Spencer saying he wants it to be Bethesda's most played game to date. That means they need to make sure they have the most eyeballs watching this showcase. They need to have the most eyes on the event. And June is the month when that happens. And I understand that E3 proper hasn't happened in some time, so I'm not saying that Microsoft might not do their own thing, similar to EA Play, or I think it's called Nintendo Direct. They're technically not part of E3 anymore, but it still happens in that June timeframe. But what about the months leading up until E3? Is it possible that we might get another Into the Starfield video, another developer insights or location insights where we see another city like Neon or like Aquila up leading to the month of E3? And the answer is yes, entirely so, for a couple of reasons. But I think it's more likely that we see something before E3 than us seeing nothing at all. And we'll talk about why. First off is the release cadence of some of these videos that we've seen from Bethesda. And it is staggered, but there might be some reason behind that I'll talk about in a little bit. However, we have Into the Starfield, The Journey Begins, released in June. Location Insight videos in August. The Settled Systems in October. Into the Starfield Episode 1 in November. Painting the Starfield in February, the longest gap, you have 3 months there. And then finally, the most recent, Into the Starfield Episode 2 in March. The common theme being, except for that one outlier, 1 to 2 months between these videos. So you put another 2 months in there, we're positioning ourselves at May, 1 month before E3, where it's a perfect time to show fans another trailer, another insights video, promoting the upcoming release or the upcoming reveal of Starfield 1 month from that date. Only time will tell if I'm correct in that assumption, but it's not uncommon these days for developers to put a trailer for the trailer that's coming up. We've seen it happening more and more, and especially these days, it's possible for developers to get away with a lot of clever marketing techniques. Developers can put on a live stream, a mysterious and unexpected live stream, and sure enough, in a couple hours, some Reddit user will spot it, and then news articles like IGN or Kotaku will pick up on it and start mentioning it and tweeting about it, and then suddenly everybody's tuning into these reveals. Hell, Bethesda did it themselves with the first reveal of Fallout 76 76. But at the end of the day, the point of any such event, any such marketing like that, is to make sure that people tune in to the full reveal. I understand if some people think this isn't really that strong of an argument. Just to recap, we've talked about how the release cadence of past Starfield teasers would work in our favor of getting something in May, a month before E3. We've mentioned how developers will release trailers for their upcoming trailers. It's not an upcoming marketing tactic. And we've also mentioned how Microsoft will want as many eyes as possible on the E3 event, and that means they have to market it beforehand. But if that's not strong enough, there are some more things that we can dive into. Radio silence about a game, especially when fans know that the release or the reveal is upcoming, is not necessarily a good thing. Now, I want to say that sometimes no information is better than too much information. See Cyberpunk for an example of that. But generally speaking, I think Bethesda has been doing an awesome job with these developer insight type videos. It's been showcasing fans who are excited for the game, some more information to speculate and to get us talking, and it's free press and free PR for Bethesda to just make one of these videos. Well, not free, it costs them time to make some of this stuff, but it gets out there, word spreads around because Starfield is such a big name. It gets more details to people who might not know much about Starfield, or maybe doesn't really know much about Bethesda games. It makes us fans who've been following this incredibly happy, and on top of that, Bethesda, we have to keep in mind, although yes, many of us watching a video like mine or a channel like mine might be on board with Starfield, there's still a large segment of the community. I get comments in my own comments section of people saying, well, you can't trust Todd Howard, you can't trust Bethesda, Bethesda's evil and they suck, and they still feel burned by the likes of Fallout 76, or they still think Bethesda is on the decline, that they're not as great as they used to be following. Hell, people have been saying that they've never been as good since Morrowind. What I've personally taken away, and this is from most people that I've talked to about these videos that they've been showing us, is that Bethesda has some of the utmost confidence in this release than we've seen in a long time, and that instills confidence in me that Bethesda is going to do the right thing. And we continuously hear some of those points. Yes, we've heard it so many times at this point that Bethesda is going back to things that work, that they're returning to RPG roots. We've heard those mentions. That makes me believe Bethesda will do a great job. And absolutely, fans can continue to be nervous. They can continue, which I encourage you to do, to approach with cautious optimism. That's completely fine, but people might be more open-minded to embracing this new experience, even though it's a brand new IP and in a new genre than what Bethesda has done historically. Ultimately, what I think it comes down to is it's just a smart business decision for Bethesda to try to keep promoting this game. And realistically, these videos don't give us too much spoilers. Yes, they give us an inside look. Yes, they allow us to picture the lore of the game or imagine how some of the systems work, but it's not really spoiling their big reveal. Forget killing two birds with one stone. You're getting like 4 or 5. You are keeping existing fans happy by not going completely silent with a flow of information for us to talk about. You're raising awareness about the title. You're gaining more interest towards the E3 full reveal, which is ultimately what should be, or what I speculate to be, the end goal. You're getting interest from people who might be a little bit more wary of Bethesda, of past titles, and that's completely okay. And on top of all of this, uniting it all is increased media coverage. It's a win, 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 win. My guess is probably April, as the developers really might need to bury their heads a bit and do everything they need to make sure this game is as polished as possible. I fully expect not just Bethesda's partner studios are working on Starfield at this point, but also all of Microsoft's internal teams. Well, not all of them, but many of them are likely coming in, lending a hand to get this game as perfect as it possibly can be for release. And that's not to say that it will release perfect. I'm fully expecting bugs and problems and issues with the game at launch, and I think many of you guys are as well. With a game that's open world, you got to expect it to some degree. But May, right before E3, full reveal at E3, and then maybe a 1 or 2 more before the release of the game, sounds pretty accurate to me, and time will tell how correct I am on that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I want to hear your own speculation about when we might expect to hear more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.